Hey guys. So I never really discussed the Amber Guyger ruling in depth and how I felt about it. So we can have that discussion now. So another guy I was looking at that was talking about it just inspired me to do this video. We all saw the judge hug Amber Guyger. We all saw the brother of Botham Jean hug Amber Guyger. We all saw the bailiff or the deputy comb Amber Guyger's hair. And I heard some kind of nonsense about checking the hair for contraband, some old bullshit like that. Like another guy said, if they hadn't done it by the time she got in the courtroom and sitting down, I don't believe that. I for one have stopped making an excuse for white supremacy. And you should too. I've stopped doing it. As I spoke earlier on Joe Scarborough talking about, Ellen DeGeneres sitting with George Bush and I try to be nice. You're making an excuse for people who will not do the same for you. And I think we need to know that. And we need to be aware of that. That you're making an excuse for people who they don't feel the same way about you. They just don't. And that's just a straight up fact. This gentleman I was watching on YouTube was talking about how Amber Guyger, how that case, the judge coming down and hugging her, was kind of like this example of, it reminded him of a dude his mother had dated, who, when they were in the presence of white people, he would like shrink. He would like, kind of, get smaller. My friend Deville said when I get on white people, I lower my voice. And that's not really it. I think that's anytime I'm in like a public political store or something, I do that. I just do, I just lower my voice. That's the way I was raised. That's nothing to do with being playing white people. It's just the way I was raised. He spoke about how you have some black people who live their lives trying to be accepted by white people. We agree. For a while, I was like that. It's like that in the South because to go out here and do anything, you have to bow before white supremacy. For the most part, you do. For the most, now the gangster rap and all that, that's different, and that's something new. That's a relatively new thing. But historically, you had to bow before white supremacy if you were to be out here successful in any way. It's just what it is. I think he's correct. I think the esthetician is correct that to me that whole showing, it just showed you really the sickness that we have of wanting to be accepted by white people. That even though this white cop did this, you still want to hug her. I mean, and there were lawyers talking they had never heard of a judge coming down in a murder case and hugging a convicted murderer, talking about, and it just goes back to this whole idea of no matter what this white cop does, she's still going to get every chance. She's going to get every opportunity. She's going to get every provision that you got to try to excuse it away. Honestly, if she hadn't have openly said that she, did shoot him, did intend to kill, I mean, this is that's what I like about this kind of stuff, is that it proves white supremacy better than I can explain it. Just the same way that Donald Trump explained class better than I can explain it. Not capital. Not going out here and working and struggling and fighting. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about privilege and access and who you know and what you know. I'm talking about that. Rather than, well, you go to school and you work hard and all that bullshit that's not based upon reality. Donald Trump, he really shows privilege. He shows class in a way. Well, I always like that voting the loans comment. The dude said that well, all the government workers got to do is get loans. Everybody can't get loans, and everybody can't get loans that quickly either. That was a class statement. He wasn't talking to you. He wasn't talking to the average 9-to-5 worker. He wasn't, straight up. And he's trying to, speak to these corporate giants, to these people in these Fortune 500 companies that, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. But it is. It's a very big deal. That's you're talking about, I won't say millions of lives. I won't say millions. I'll say millions of lives affected, because it's businesses that are in these areas that depend on people who work for the federal government affected. And those businesses, people have families and things like that, So I'll say millions. I'm probably much less than that. I know. I tell my dad this all the time: is when you listen to Trump, you've got to always understand he's not talking to you, and that Trump is not even. He's at the point now where he's not even pretending to talk to you. He's now simply talking to the elite, to the corporate elite out here. That's it. Point blank, period. He's not talking to you. When he went to El Paso in the aftermath of the shootings, what does El Paso have to give Donald Trump? Nothing. They're not gonna vote for him. I dare say a lot of spots in Texas are not gonna vote for Donald Trump. And I'm not even talking about just getting deep into the South. I'm not even talking about like the border, because yes, it's a lot of Hispanics. I'm not even talking about that. There's a lot of places now. Donald Trump's with the majority, 90% white areas, and even a lot of those areas. I think it kind of comes down to this, and I've been thinking about it. I wanted to mention this to you guys. What kind of world do white people want to pass on to their kids? Do they want their kids to watch Donald Trump make these racial comments and you know what I mean? Because I said it all the time, a lot of things Trump has said in the past that's clearly racist, that if Trump was smart, he could have done it a little bit differently. He's a Southern strategy. He is the successor of it. Thank you. I want to say a participant, but it's a process. It's going down the line from Nixon on. Southern strategy basically is like this. We can't use the N-word. Post 65, we can't use the N-word. If we do, we'll lose votes. But we can use dog whistles and cold words and talk about welfare and talk about taxes in ways that caress the ego of the Caucasian, I guess you could say it, of the rural Caucasian out there, to make him feel like, hey, I'm on your side, right? Trump is a successor of that. He didn't start it. That's why I always say Trump's not smart enough to start anything. Trump just has picked up things that other presidents have talked about, just didn't do. That's why I always tell people, are you mad about Donald Trump and his racism? Really? Or are you mad about American foreign policy that's gotten you to the point to where you have Donald Trump as president and he's pulling out of Iran, he's doing this, doing the other. What are you mad about? Because Donald Trump he didn't start the war in Iraq. He didn't start any of these wars. He didn't. Real talk. So what are you mad about? So, but well, so the Amber Guyger case, to me, It's disgusting. Heard will get much more time for much lesser charges, much less crimes. She'll probably get off in 5 years. Probably get out in less than 5 years for killing someone in their apartment. Then the judge comes. I mean, it's almost like me and my friend Denzel talk about. It's a victory. And be honest, let's understand something. In the process, in the journey towards human betterment, you've got to recognize your victories. I always go back to JFK. You had the lady that wrote Silent Stream. I think that was it. And she was just, I think it was Silent Stream, something like that. But she was talking about Silent Spring. And she was talking about how with the pollution and everything, you know, you'd have all these animals being killed. Basically, the frogs, the crickets would all be dead. And JFK, they looked at it and they basically said, yes, this is true, this is correct. You know, and that's how you started to get the EPA and all that kind of stuff. And that's when that came about. I could be wrong. Might be after that. Now we've got endocrine disruptors. Got plastic everywhere. Plastic in the water. Teflon in the water. And these PFOA chemicals in the firefighting chemicals getting into the water and things like that. Whew. How can I say it to you? Just like you had that happen, and people came out and called, I think they called her a communist, all this kind of stuff. It's the same thing with Trump. People that stand up to him, people that, I'm just like, God, well, I apologize. Every success, every victory has got to be appreciated. Just like that was appreciated. Amber Guyger case. The Amber Guyger case is a victory because she was convicted. Even if she was convicted, you know, but who knows, she may get an appeal. I really felt like the Amber Guyger case, it shows you more than ever how crooked Texas really is. That you had the Texas Rangers actually saying she broke no laws. You had a judge actually asking for them to use the castle doctrine. And I understand why, because it could have been used in an appeal. Now it can't be, because it was considered. I think it's disgusting that in these days and times we're even using castle doctrine. I mean, castle doctrine to me, it's not really for black people, people of color anyway. It's for white people who have own property and stuff. But the fact that we're even talking about someone using that after killing another black person in their apartment is problematic. It's definitively troublesome to the spirit, because if they can do that, that's basically giving them a license to kill. That wherever I can go, I can kill a black person, even in their house, even in the house is not mine, property that's mine, not mine. I can just kill them and get away with it, and that bothers me. And it should bother you too. That's not just. That's not proper. I don't care what kind of law, you know, what you find in the GCA, the NCG, the NGCA, whatever you call it, North Carolina laws here. I don't care how many lawyers you get to pull it up. It's unjust. And at one time, I actually remember kind of like wondering when North Carolina would go that way, and now I'm just like, God, what if they do? You know what I mean? It's weird how I've changed over the last 10 years. From 2010 to 2019, this is my 20s. This is my 20s. I'll probably become a fucking socialist. Probably have like a socialist organization at some point. You know, I'll probably fucking have the works of Stalin in here or something eventually. I don't know. I know that whatever I can do to stand against the oppressor, I will do. I think we have to remember our fallen brethren. You know, it's crazy. This guy was talking about Trayvon Martin. And I don't even remember much about Trayvon Martin. I wasn't paying attention back then. It took someone killing white people in Charlottesville to wake me up. That's why I do talk about our white allies. I do. Just due to the fact that it took that to wake me up. It took that for me to get it. That now white supremacy is turning on white people. Which it has to. Because now in a system of capitalism, it's about what you got and things of that nature. So it has to. They have to turn on their own. That has to happen. Nothing strange or unusual about that. It's about what you have. It's about means. And the cost of living is going up. It has to. As a dollar, the value gets less and less. You know? Chris had just made a good point. Listening to him one morning when I was coming back from California. Chris Hedges was talking about how these white people, he didn't say that, but these white people in these southern areas, these country boys that get so angry and just get so full of rage and all this kind of stuff about, well, he didn't go into it. I'm going to just go ahead and paraphrase. The white boys hate technology, okay? Hate computers, hate cell phones, don't want to understand how they work, don't want to figure them out. They're scared that they'll be left behind again. And I never thought about it like that. And one thing I've gotten older is I do realize that that's how people are. Sometimes people don't want to be seen as weak, so they won't tell you something, and you've got to, you got to listen. I learned that communication. You have to listen. You have to look at it from their point of view. Sometimes different than yours. Doesn't mean it's any less value. It's different. And I see their point. I mean, I get it, but the way to deal with that is not by following an oligarch. He's gonna put you back in sweatshops. He's gonna put you back in the coal mines. You know what I mean? That's when I look at Trump and his base, that's basically what I see. I see white people who want to go back to the coal mines. Because that's Trump. When he's talking about making America great again, that's the great he's talking about. Is when you had slavery. Is when you had sweatshops. Is when you had child labor. Is when you had stuff. That was he's not talking about the 50s. He's talking way back before the 50s, if you want to be technical. Now, if you're talking about the 50s, I think basically what you're talking about is the post-World War II world that still hadn't pulled itself out, 47, 50 by that time. They hadn't pulled themselves out of the rubble yet. The millions did in the aftermath of the Second World War. Just nobody was staying. It's like if I have a brawl. There's 5 men in here fighting right now. They got them crowbars, knives, they're fighting. It's a brawl. And then I walk in the last 5 minutes of the fight, I get a few blows. I might get hit a few times. I'm not cut or nothing. That's basically how I look at America. Yeah, you had Normandy and all that. They didn't get into the war until 1940. So you want to be the last man standing, basically. I don't look at it as saying, oh, America's so great. You know what I mean? You had heroism in a lot of other countries, too. A lot of folks that stood up against the Nazis. A lot of countries stood up against the Nazis. It's a lot of people who didn't support that. And there's some countries that took time, but eventually, in the end, turned against the Nazis. Yes. Not just America. Yes. You can get into the war until, 1941, 1940? The war's about over with. Russia took more damage, if you want to be honest. If you're talking about just sheer destruction. Moving on. If you are concerned about being left behind, as a Caucasian, as a member of the white working class, the way to mitigate, the way to deal with that is not to vote in an oligarch who jokes about being able to shoot somebody and get away with it. He's basically saying, I've got these people under control so well, I can do whatever I want. I can, And it bothers me that conservatives, nobody's really saying anything about that. No, there's been no conservatives that are like, yo, I don't like that. You haven't heard nothing like that until recently. You haven't heard? No, you haven't heard it at all. Take it back. They don't follow him on the Ukraine business. That's why I said to you, it's a lot of things Trump has said these rednecks would agree with. It's just the racism. It's just the making jokes about women and Indians and fat people and espousing violence. And it's those things that I think kind of made people, shy away a little bit because they don't want their kids to grow up like that. That's the difference between a racist. They don't want their kids to be like that. They see that and they're like, yo, this is not what I taught my kids. Can I ask you a question? I don't think I would leave my kids in front of a TV with Donald Trump on. I wouldn't. And that's just based upon his character. And you have all these Christian ministers. I love that, man. Because you're basically telling me that America's not a Christian nation. Or that you've always said it was a Christian nation, but at the same time, it's a white supremacist nation. Well, I knew that anyway, baby. We knew this. I love it. I love the honesty. Trump shows you when he pulls out leave the Kurds to be massacred. America is not to be trusted. It's not. Whether it's that or the Mujahideen in Afghanistan back in '89, funding terrorism, or whether it be breaking the Iran deal or the plane pact they had with Pakistan, they screwed them over on the planes. It all correlates, and it just shows you America isn't to be trusted. Period. And that's real talk, man. And to me, it's kind of refreshing to see that. Something that I've been saying for so long that, is now kind of put out there in the open. It's kind of terrifying too. Generally, when people get honest with you like that and start, really, really being honest with you, it's because things are about to get really bad. In my experience, that's when things get bad. That's when a person has got less than 6 months to live. That's when people are about to go bankrupt. That's how that happens. Peace out.